A warm welcome to Housing TV News at the top of the hour, coming to you from our studio in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Maimuna Bagudu. Our top stories. President Tinubu promises ECOWAS protection for Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso. Senate declares Edo Governor Okpebholo seat vacant, calls for by-election. Dangote Refinery begins petrol exports to Cameroon. Senate stops Wike's ongoing demolitions in FCT, launches probe. The foreign scene, monthly rent soars by £270 since COVID pandemic, says Zupla. We begin with national matters. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Wednesday in Abuja said the interests and welfare of the citizens in Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger remains a priority for leaders of ECOWAS, assuring that wisdom and diplomacy will make the difference in reintegrating the countries into the Commission. Receiving the President of Germany, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, in a state visit at the presidential villa, President Tinubu, who is the chairman of ECOWAS, noted that the leadership of the three countries had been reluctant in bringing out transition programs with clear dates. Tinubu told the Germany leader that the regional body would leave the door open for the return of democracy in the countries. In his response, the German president said the reintegration of the three countries will have a significant impact on the economy and security of the West Coast. In another development, United States Embassy in Nigeria has announced updates to its immigration visa process effective January 1st, 2025. The announcement was made on the embassy's official X page on Wednesday, stating that applicants with interviews scheduled after January 1st, 2025 are required to visit the Consulate General in Lagos at least twice during the immigrant visa process. Consequently, applicants with scheduled interviews are now expected to visit the Consulate General in Lagos twice as part of the application procedure. According to details in the embassy's website, the first visit will involve an in-person document review with consular staff member. Now to the Senate, where President Bola Tinubu will be presenting the 2025 appropriation bill to a joint session of the National Assembly on Tuesday next week. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, disclosed these during Thursday's plenary session.
His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, has indicated his intention to bring the 2025 budget proposals and estimates to a joint sitting of the National Assembly on 17th day of December 2024. So I'm talking about Tuesday next week.
The appropriation bill will contain budget proposals for the 2025 fiscal year. Away from the Senate, Dangote Refinery has commenced export of premium motor spirit PMS, otherwise known as petrol, to Cameroon. This was achieved with collaboration with Neptune Oil, a leading energy company in Cameroon, resulting in the first ever export of PMS from Dangote Refinery, Africa's largest oil refinery, to Cameroon. According to Dangote, the milestone resulting from a strategic collaboration between the two companies underscores their commitment to strengthening economic ties between Nigeria and Cameroon while meeting the region's growing energy demands. Director and owner of Neptune Oil, Anthony Nzengu, explained that the partnership with Dangote Refinery marks a turning point for Cameroon. Now, in Ondo State, workers of the State Internal Revenue Service, ODRIS, have protested the contrast between the lavish compensation of senior executives and the major wages of junior staff. The workers who blocked the major roads along their office at Alagbaka condemned their non-inclusion in the minimum wage payment. Armed with placards with different inscriptions, they accused the management of the Revenue House of embezzlement, calling on the state government to urgently look into their demands. Government officials assured them that the state government will urgently address their demands.
This is the minimum wage. Understand? It will be signed in the next 30 minutes to the start of this salary. Though it's not a problem in Ondo State. The issue of salary is not a problem at all. They may have some things, some other things with their management that we do not know. They did not give the governor notice. No notice, we did not see any notice. So obviously we give notice, the governor have been doing that. And when the governor had that, yesterday is 11th, and they have not received that, the governor was so sad about it.
We are here to calm them down, to collect their position paper, and deliver it to Mr. Governor. And I know that Mr. Governor will surely accede to their request.
At our own end, we will do everything to ensure that we restore peace here so that workers in ODRS will live a normal life. With what we observe so far, apart from like new minimum wage, there are a lot of things underneath that are agitating for.
We take a pause here. News stories from the build sector are up next. Stay with us. Welcome back. Glad to have you join us on Housing TV News at the top of the hour. Now to the build sector. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is set to launch the construction of 3,500 housing units in Lagos and Kano on December 17th and 18th, 2024. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dengiwa, made these disclosures during the presentation of the first to third quarters 2024 performance assessment on implementation of the presidential priorities and ministerial deliverables. These housing projects comprising 2,000 units in Ipeju, Lekki, Lagos and 1,500 units in Kano are part of the Renewed Hope Cities under the broader Renewed Hope Cities and Estates program aimed at addressing Nigerians' housing deficit. The federal government has issued 6 sovereign sukuk bonds valued at 1.1 trillion naira to fund 124 road projects covering over 5,820 kilometers across Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones. This was made known by the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), Emomotimi Agama, during the 2nd International Islamic Capital Market Conference in Pakistan. Agama highlighted that the sukuk bonds issued since 2017 have been central to the growth of Nigeria's Islamic capital market, attracting substantial investor interest with subscription rates peaking at 441%. He also noted the increased trend of subnational and corporate sukuk issuance in Nigeria, citing examples like Osun and Lagos states, Family Homes Limited, Taj Bank PLC and 3 other subnational entities. These sukuk have funded key projects in infrastructure, housing and banking, marking a milestone in Nigeria's financial sector. This move underscores the government's commitment to improving infrastructure through innovative financial instruments. We go to the Senate, where the House has asked the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, to halt the demolition of properties in the Federal Capital Territory pending the conclusion of investigations by its ad hoc committee. The resolution was reached on Thursday following a motion raised by Senator Ireti Kingibe, who expressed concerns that the demolition in the FCT has taken a dangerous dimension. Some lawmakers, however, objected to the motion, urging their colleagues not to stop the minister from carrying out his statutory functions.
Concerned that in recent time, the demolition exercise in the FCT is no longer based on reasons adduced by the FCT administration that necessitated the demolition. further concerned that the current demolition in the FCT is not in line with due process of court orders to demolish. As such, a cross-section of individuals had suffered untold hardships occasioned by massive demolition, which has led to a loss of properties worth billions of naira.
There is need to investigate this matter before giving any directive. We must hear from the minister. So we have to hear before we say stop demolition. So let's hear from the minister first. You can't shave a man's head at his back.
We cannot stop the minister from doing his work. Let us restrict, yes, let us restrict. He's cleaning the city. He's cleaning the city, making the city look good. The idea of demolition is to make the city look good. We can't stop him from doing his work.
I think we need to be fair to everybody. There is before us an allegation that says certain steps are to be taken, which will culminate in demolition. Are we saying that we should allow the place to be demolished while we are trying to look into it? My own view is simple. We should tell him to stop, and as Senator Natasha has said, start the investigation so that there is a level playing ground.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, expressed concern that the government may face court action by those who are aggrieved by the demolition carried out without court orders. He subsequently ruled that the ongoing demolition should be halted.
The court has its own duties to do. The minister must obey the court orders. But those that are not covered by court orders, we should urge the minister to put a hold on such demolitions until the ad hoc committee interfaces with the FCT administration and brings the report to be sure that yes, indeed, those things are meritable.
In another development, the Senate has ordered the arrest of the Managing Director of Julius Berger PLC for failing to appear before its Committee on Works to explain the stalled execution of the Itu-Odukpani Highway contract. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, announced the resolution during Thursday's plenary. The decision followed a point of order raised by Senate Minority Whip Osita Ungo, who had in his motion urged his colleagues to approve an order of arrest against Julius Berger's managing director for snubbing invitations.
In furtherance of the investigative hearings, Julius Berger Nigerian PLC has neglected and refused to honor invitations to provide details of their role in the Odukpani Itu Highway project, despite receiving substantial public funds amounting to over 18 billion naira. Mr. President, the Senate resolves to condemn the refusal of Julius Berger Nigerian PLC and other entities to honor the lawful invitations of the Senate, which constitutes content of the National Assembly and undermines the National Assembly's constitutional authority. Invoke the constitutional powers of the National Assembly as provided in Section 89(1)(c) and (d) of the 1999 Constitution to issue a warrant of arrest to compel the attendance of the Managing Director of Julius Berger Nigerian PLC at the rescheduled investigative hearing.
This is as the majority of senators took turns to express frustration over Julius Berger Nigerian Limited's refusal to honor the Senate invitations.
It is very sad to note and to state that Julius Berger has refused to attend these investigative hearings. Julius Berger, they bidded for a job, they were awarded a job, they were paid taxpayers' money, they showed up on site briefly, and they left the site. For whatever reason they may have done that, they have to come and tell the Nigerian people. Julius Berger, even though they may have their origins outside this country, can never try what they are doing in Nigeria, in Germany or wherever in Europe they originate from. It behoves on this Senate that we establish and utilize the powers and the constitutional powers that are given to us to invite the gentleman, the Managing Director of Julius Berger, to appear before us so that we can look into this matter and give it the necessary conclusion. You will invite a minister of Federal Republic of Nigeria, some of them will not listen to the chairman of your committee, Mr. President. And enough is enough. We should query these ministers and ask Mr. President to drop them. How can a chairman of a committee be looking for a minister for 2, 3 days, 4 days, they will not answer phone? So they are doing the same thing Julius Berger is doing. We have to use our powers. Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me this opportunity to voice how I feel this morning. I feel like fighting, but I can't fight. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Committees of the National Assembly can invite a contractor. Why? If the minister has failed or the ministry has failed, we approve funds and we want to see value for money. We want to see economy. We want to see prudence in the way and manner our funds that we appropriated are utilized. And when there is need for signing a warrant, Mr. President, don't hesitate. We have to make example of some people and some institutions. Who is this contractor that is so powerful? More than the federal government, more than EFCC, more than all the agencies that are put in place to deal with people who are involved in criminal embezzlement of public funds. So I submit, sir, that everything we have said of Julius Berger, we should say even more to the Ministry of Works that awarded the contract. There is no evidence they have the power to revoke the contract, and they have the power under the law to get that part of the payment for which they have not worked, to recover that money to public treasury and award the contract to another contractor under clear terms of contract execution.
The President of the Senate, while ruling on resolution, said the Senate is prepared to fully back actions that hold contractors accountable.
To issue a warrant of arrest to the Managing Director of JV to appear before the Senate Committee on Works to explain what they have done with the finances of the federal government given under their control. If we have power to appropriate, we have power to oversight. We also have powers to follow the money to the letter. So what we are going to do is that since we have summoned the company, and the company has rebuffed the summons of the National Assembly by implicating the Senate, then we should immediately take the next step of issuing a warrant of arrest to compel the Managing Director of JB to appear before the Senate Committee. And then you fix a date. Those in support of this say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has authorized the Senate President to sign a warrant compelling the Managing Director of Julius Berger to appear before the Senate Committee on Works on a stated date to be so named. And then the report will be made available thereafter to this August Assembly, failing which we shall go further to do the needful as prescribed in the Nigerian Constitution. Those in support of the resolution say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The federal government has given a 1-month ultimatum to developers on the shorelines in Lagos to come up for regularization or risk revocation and demolition. Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, issued the ultimatum and warning today after the inspection visit to the Lagos Lagoon Estates and Shoreline Front. The minister stated that development on the Lagos shoreline must be orderly and in line with existing laws and regulations, adding that this meeting with the Lagos State Governor on Wednesday arrived at a common agreement that the federal government and Lagos State Government will work together to ensure there is disciplined development on the Lagos shoreline. Dangiwa, who took a boat tour with his team and officials of the Nigerian Inland Waterways Authority to see things for himself, explained that what they found on the lagoon shoreline in Lagos was alarming. Dangiwa is on official working visit to Lagos State to inspect the federal government landed properties and assets, and will be rounding off his working visit with a stakeholder engagement today. The Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development and the Lagos State Government have agreed to work together towards an amicable resolution of all pending issues around land administration in the state. This was a key outcome of the meeting between the Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Acted Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, and Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, held at the Marina Lagos Government House on Wednesday. Architect Dangiwa was on a working visit to Lagos State, where he visited the ministry's field offices, including the Glass House, which houses over 40 federal government agencies, landed federal government properties, and the former federal secretariat in Ikoyi, which is currently under dispute with the Lagos State government. The minister and the governor agreed to set up a tripartite committee comprising the ministry, Lagos State Government, and the Resort International Limited, who took over the complex and started work on it before the dispute, to review and assess all positions in order to resolve the lingering dispute in a mutually beneficial to all the parties involved. In another development, the federal government has promised to turn its abandoned secretariat at Ikoyi in Lagos into luxury apartments. The plan is part of President Tinubu's administration's efforts to revamp disused government buildings across the state into modern complexes for the benefit of Nigerians. Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Acted Ahmed Dangiwa, announced the government's plan while inspecting the abandoned secretariat recently in Lagos. The minister, who also inspected other federal government buildings in the megacity, said the plan would deplete the housing deficit in Lagos. The Ikoyi Federal Secretariat was abandoned following the movement of the seat of power from Lagos to Abuja in 1991. Minister of Works David Umahi has emphasized the recent need to eliminate all bureaucratic hurdles that hindered the timely and efficient evaluation of projects by the Bureau of Public Procurement. The minister made this statement when he received a courtesy visit from the BPP management team led by its Director General Adebowale Adedokun at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja. Umahi underscored that streamlining these processes is essential for accelerating project implementation and ensuring that procurement activities are not delayed due to unnecessary administrative bottlenecks. A statement by the Special Advisor Media to the Minister, Orji Uchenna, on Wednesday said Umahi had a partnership discussion with the team on the need for a new paradigm of seamless bureaucracies in public procurement processes for efficient and timely project delivery. He stated that the partnership is essential for unlocking greater opportunities in innovation, efficiency, and economic growth within the current administration's road infrastructure revolution agenda, while also addressing the citizens' demand for improvements in the road sector. The Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria has proposed the development of a comprehensive national housing delivery strategy and a national plan for producing local building materials to address Nigerians' housing deficit. Samson Opaloa, Cobon chairman, made this proposal at a news conference on the Council's 35th anniversary in Abuja. Opaloa also highlighted the importance of reorganizing the building materials marketing system to ensure quality control and easy access to materials across the country, which is critical in addressing the housing deficit. Now to Yobe State, where the state governor, Mai Mala Bonu, has inaugurated 500 housing units and several other significant infrastructure projects in Borno State. These projects were built under the leadership of Borno State Governor Babagana Umar Zulum. In addition to the 500 housing units, Bonu also commissioned the Jos Road flyover